Hello to you, my gorgeous soul, and welcome back to the Empowered by Ems podcast. My friends, how are you doing? How are you finding life right now? I don't know about y'all, but this second week of March is giving December. It's giving she needs a 3-week holiday. It's giving can I sleep in? It's giving do I really have to work for money? I don't know if you relate, but I've been feeling a mix of energy, highs and lows and indifferences, feeling like, oh my goodness, we still have to get through the year. And thank God that I am somebody who is walking in the path of personal development. I'm committed to myself for the rest of my life. I had been sleeping on myself for 29 years before I finally woke up and realized that I was sleeping on my most important investment, sleeping on my potential, sleeping on my dreams and what I was created to do and be and have here in this lifetime. And that's no longer happening for me. So I know that there are going to be times where you're going to have energy dips. There are going to be times where you don't feel like doing anything. There are seasons in our lives and cycles in our lives for a reason. And particularly as a woman, it's even more important that you learn about your monthly cycle and you learn how all the different stages of your cycle impact you. You learn how you can support yourself through the different stages and how you can take care of your energy and your soul and your spirit through the different stages. Now, that's a topic that I actually dove into with a soon to be guest on the Empowered by Ems podcast. The episode is recorded, it's in the queue. And I'm really excited to bring that information to you guys because when I finished that conversation, I left it feeling so empowered. I was like, ah, it was like so many things in my brain unlocked open and everything made sense. And I want to provide that for as many of you as possible as well. So that episode is going to be coming up. Stay tuned for it. If you already haven't checked out the guest feature episode, my very first one since relaunching the podcast is with the lovely Sarah Hoverson. And we talk about how you can cultivate a healthier relationship with your body. So if you haven't checked that one out, it's just the previous episode. So make sure that you download it, save it, mark it, bookmark it so that you can listen to it later because it was quite a powerful episode. And I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on all of my other guest feature episodes. The women in those episodes, phenomenal, impeccable, amazing. I'm so grateful that I'm surrounded by such a beautiful, vibrant community of powerful women who are doing their thing, walking in their personal development journeys, recognizing where their limitations are and choosing to do something about it instead of pretending like everything is okay. So that is the energy of the Empowered by Ems podcast and the Empower Collective and everything that I am putting out into the world in this very moment. So, in today's particular podcast episode, my loves, we are going to be exploring, in case you couldn't tell by the title, we're going to be exploring nervous system regulation. Now, some of you may or may not know, you may have joined me for my nervous system regulation workshop called Regulate, which took place on the 12th of March. And if you missed that workshop, the replay is actually still available, but it's only available within the Empower Collective walls. So if you would like to get access and join the community space of like-minded women who are on a journey to empower, grow, and connect, then all you have to do is drop me a DM on Instagram, or better yet, I'm going to leave the application link in the show notes. So if you are watching on YouTube, click in the description, click through, apply to join this vibrant, growing community. And I'm so excited for it. Honestly, I feel this kind of giddy excitement when I open the app and I'm there typing a post and I'm, pouring myself and what I know into the women that are gathering inside the community space. So join us. It is absolutely the place for you, created with you in mind and really created to support you along your journey for the long haul, right? We're going to walk with each other and rise together. So now for today's episode, like I mentioned, we're talking all about the nervous system. And I love talking about this because you know how everything is so interconnected in this work? You could talk about your inner child and healing your inner child, and somehow you're talking about regulating your nervous system. You could talk about taming your ego, and somehow you're talking about regulating your nervous system. Everything is super intertwined. You can talk about money. And if you're talking about money, you're going to need to regulate your nervous system in order for you to have the capacity to hold more, in order for you to dissipate and get rid of those emotions of worry and fear and anxiety that come up when you think about your money and or you work with your money. This was one thing that came through to me as I was sitting down to prepare this episode, is that one of the forms of your nervous system being in a freeze response is, and I'm going to go through the different emotional reactions, the emotional cycles that your nervous system goes through. But one of the signs of you being in a freeze response, which just like the word states, freeze, is you being unable to do anything with your money. It's you, every time it's time for you to pay a bill, you're procrastinating, you're putting things off, you don't want to look at things, you just kind of rather stay put. Because God forbid you move, that means you're going to be spending some money. And because you have a fear, a deep subconscious fear, possibly, about more money coming in, about there being enough, about your capacity to create more, whatever the limitation is, that can then manifest in this freeze response. And that response lives in your body. So let's go back to the root, right? So in order for us to really understand this, I want you to take a moment and vividly imagine yourself walking down the street and you're minding your business. Perhaps you have your headphones in. You know, it's a beautiful day. You're enjoying the music. Maybe it's Texas Hold'em comes on by Beyonce, and you're like, woo! And you're walking, you're super relaxed, you're super calm. And then out of nowhere, out of the blue, you see a car swerving. Now, this is a reckless driver who, in a normal world, he would not be climbing onto the curb. But now, because of this is a special case, you see him heading right towards you and on the path of the curb that you are on. So in this moment, your nervous system goes into one of two reactions. You either freeze or you flight, right? And when you flight or freeze, sorry, fight or flight. What am I saying? Fight or flight is the response that I want to talk about in this particular story. So if in that moment you need to flight in order for you to save yourself, then that's the response that your nervous system goes into. You move out of the way, you're saved. If in that moment you need to freeze in order for you to save, perhaps to save yourself, perhaps you just need to stay really still and the car will just continue moving in its path, then that's the response your nervous system goes into. This is a very automatic, primitive response that we have no conscious control over. Our bodies automatically go into this because our bodies are wired to keep us safe and help us stay alive, right? So this is not something we have conscious control over. And what happens over time is if you, from that moment of being so activated, so triggered by that entire situation, it was traumatizing. If you don't take the moment and the time to process what happened to you, to release whatever emotion came up that you felt in that moment that you just probably took right back into your body, right? It almost like comes up and goes right back in. If you don't take the moment to do that, that situation, that story, that feeling begins to live within the cells of your DNA. It begins to be literally coded within your DNA. And you then just become this person with this X reactive experience, X reactive state. So you're consciously, so you're always being reactive, even when there is nothing to react to. right? So this is what is known as a maladaptive stress response. This is when your nervous system is in a chronic state of activation. You're chronically triggered. You're chronically anxious, worried, scared, tired. Even when you are in a safe environment, even when there is no danger around you, right? You're chronically stuck in freeze when it comes to your money, even when you know that there is more money, there is more than enough money to go around, but for some reason, consciously, unconsciously, your body does not feel safe for you to spend on yourself, for you to give out the money, for you to do whatever it is that you want to do with your wealth. So this is what happens when the body over time develops this new baseline of triggered. The new baseline is worried, it's frustrated, it's anxious. And you just start to say, well, that's just how I am, That's just I'm an anxious person. How many of us have said that statement before? I'm just an anxious person. I am anxious. Powerful, powerful words that you are declaring over your life. And it's important that we watch ourselves, right? We watch the things that come out of our mouths. And immediately, whenever I find myself saying something that does not align with, honey, where the path is leading me, I immediately retract. I'm like, oh, yeah, no. And then I affirm what it is I actually want it to be. Because that's how serious it is when it comes to the power of our words, which is a completely different podcast episode. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to film one on that, because wow, we really create our lives through the power of our words and our thoughts. Now, when it comes to the different responses, I quickly want to highlight these. The different responses that your nervous system can go into are fight or flight, freeze or fawn, and then there's the response where ideally all of us can spend at least 90% of our day in, which is social engagement. So let me break them down for you quickly. So fight, I'm sure you all know what the fight response is where you're moving towards something. And this is often expressed in rage, anger, frustration, or irritation. And then flight is when you're moving away from something, right? Going, and this is often expressed through panic, fear, through worry, through anxiety. And then we have the freeze or fawn responses. Your freeze is when you completely just go numb. You shut down, you dissociate, and you begin to feel a sense of shame and hopelessness. Now, when you fawn, fawning is when you put everybody else's emotions and feelings above your own in that particular moment because you are seeking some sort of favor or flattery. You want people to be like, "Oh my God, Emily, you're so amazing. How do you do that?" I'm like, "That happened to you, but you were still able to do that for them? Wow." That's fawning. All right. When you basically put everybody else's needs above yours in that moment and you feel like, I'm doing great. But actually, no, you're just abandoning yourself and not honoring what you need in that moment. Now, the last state is social engagement. And this is where you are able to experience a calm in connection, a calmness in connection to yourself and to other people and to the world around you, right? You move through the world with this curiosity, with an openness. You are able to express and show compassion for others and for yourself. You're able to move through the world with a certain level of mindfulness and being able to be present and as well maintain a sense of groundedness within yourself. Now that's where we want to be. Like above here is all the and then down here is nice and regulated. So let me share some signs with you that you might have a nervous system that's dysregulated. And these are just a few that I'm touching on. Let me know if they resonate with you. I really, really would love to hear from you. Never arriving. Never arriving is the first one I want to touch on. This basically means that you're constantly finding yourself moving on to the next thing. It's constantly, okay, yeah, I'm done with that. What's next? You're never able to fully sit with and be present with the emotions of whatever it is that you are in. So let's say you get the relationship, you get the job, you get the car, you get the body, you get the makeup, the hair, the nails, whatever it is. The moment you get it, you're like, okay, next. You're ready for the next thing because you are unable, your body's unable to feel safe enough to express the joy, to express the happiness, to perhaps express the sadness, the rage, the frustration, whatever those emotions are. There are no good and bad emotions, my friends. Everything is welcome and everything is meant to be run through your body. Emotions are not meant to be suppressed and kept down and put in a corner somewhere and so that we pretend like it's not happening. No, we are meant to run those emotions through our bodies because when we have that's when we will be able to build an emotional resilience towards whatever is happening in our lives. You'll actually be able to hold yourself and you'll know that no matter what is going on in your life, that you can hold yourself through it, that you've got you, right? Not saying that don't lean on other people, but most importantly, you know that you have got you, you and nobody else. The next thing is constantly chasing perfection. Okay, this one and never arriving are pretty much the same or similar rather. So you're constantly looking for something that is this perfect thing that you have deemed to be perfect, and nothing is ever good enough, right? Overachieving or overworking. This is another sign that you might have a nervous system that's dysregulated because you are unable to rest even when you are tired. Right? A nervous system that is wired, that has a lot of adrenaline and cortisol running through it, is not going to be able to come down to a level where you can rest. You may lie down in bed, but your mind is still going to go, and that's not productive rest. That's that kind of rest where you wake up in the morning and you feel like, was I running a marathon? Like, what was happening? But it's just because your body, your system was not able to shut off from the day, maybe from the weeks, the months, the years that you have been running your system this way. Not being able to celebrate yourself or receive a compliment. This was me. I told you how everything is related, right? Because this also has to do with healing your inner child. Not being able to, not allowing yourself to be seen in that way has to do a lot with healing your inner child as well as your inner teenager, reparenting those parts of yourself and letting them know that it is safe for that part of you to be expressed. It's safe for you to be silly. It's safe for you to make jokes. It's safe for you to play. It's safe for you to follow your joy and your enthusiasm. Not everything has to be for some big, profound reason, right? As to why you do it. It could just be because it felt good. But if your nervous system is not in a place of regulation and calm and groundedness, you're going to struggle to allow yourself to explore yourself in that way. Because there's going to be that self-judgment. Your inner critic is going to be like, girl, what are you doing? The last one I want to share with you is constantly worrying and obsessing and ruminating over stuff that either hasn't happened yet, so your future, or stuff that has already happened, your past. You're stuck in this yo-yo of past, future, past, future, past, future, but you're not here. You're not in this moment. You are not in your life. You are not in your body. You are disconnected from the essence of life because we experience life through our bodies. And if we are disconnected from our bodies, which is a feeling I know, I can relate with that feeling. I was there. I did not care for or connect with my body the way that I do now. And I didn't care to because I didn't know how important it was. But I'm here to tell you that it is absolutely of utmost importance for you to connect with yourself, with your body, because it is through this vessel that you experience life. It's through this vessel that your intuition speaks to you and comes through to you. And if you are disconnected from your body, my love, you are truly disconnected from your life. You're disconnected from the very source that connects you to the divine. So this work is non-negotiable. You've got to show up for this. This is so, so important. Ooh, she's starting to get preachy, but you guys know I'm passionate about this. I'm super passionate about this work. And if you missed it, I mentioned that I hosted a workshop titled Regulate, where I explored this in greater detail and I share a practice that you can begin to use that can help you release and process, remove stagnant, stuck, sticky emotions that are in the body. And you might find yourself saying, well, I don't remember what happened to me, so I can't really do this work. You don't need to remember, my love. You don't need to remember. Your body's going to remember for you. Your body remembers for you. Your body keeps score. So all you have to do is open yourself up to this and do the work. Feel the feelings, the uncomfortable, sticky emotions that you've been running and hiding from for all these years. They're not going to go anywhere just because you continue to push them down. They're not going anywhere. They need to be run through you. They need to be released. They need to be processed so that you can create space. Create space for yourself in your body, in your life, for what it is that you are creating and for who you are meant to be. There's not enough space. That's why you struggle with to reach your potential right now. There's no space for your potential. You've got to clear those emotions from the body and create that physical space. So that's one of the first ways that you can begin to regulate yourself, is to create that safety in your body. Learn how to process your emotions and feel those unprocessed ones. Learn how to work with the different parts of yourself when you begin to shake those things loose, because when you begin to do this work, when you try the practice that's in the workshop that I share, other things are going to start to come up, because now your body, your subconscious is like, oh, okay, she's ready, she's doing something. Okay, here's more. Deal with this, deal with this, deal with this. And it's important that you trust that whatever is coming up is because it's time for you to release it. It is not coming up just to rock your boat and just, just for shits and giggles. It's because it is time for you to process this thing and finally be rid of it, finally be free, and to come a little step closer back to yourself, back to your power. So after you've done all of this work with your body, then you begin to work with your subconscious mind. Then you begin to bring in the mindset work, the affirmations, the journaling, because otherwise you're kind of fighting against your internal programming. You're fighting against what your body deems as safe and not safe. And just because something was once unsafe, it doesn't mean that it can't turn over and become something that you now reimagine and make safe for you once again. So, my loves, I have come to the end of this episode. I went a little, went in there, honey. I was tapped in. Hotline to the divine, definitely for sure. Lots of downloads came through. I really, really hope that this episode landed with you and has done for something for you in your spirit and for you on this journey. So if you want to get your hands on that workshop, all you have to do is join the Empower Collective. That is where the workshop and all my other workshops that I'm going to be hosting for free, that's where they're going to be living. That's the bank, right? That's going to be the library where you can access them forever if you join the community space. So apart from that, my love, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope that it touched your spirit. I hope that it has awoken something within you that you will begin to gently nudge on and begin to listen to and begin to heed the call, because this Empower Collective community space is for you. It was created with you in mind, because when I think about myself 5 years ago, I would have killed for a space like this. Okay, not killed, but I would have done a lot for a space like this where I am being guided and supported by somebody who has walked the path and somebody who continues to walk the path for herself. I would have done everything and anything to be a part of a community like this and to learn and to grow and to connect with other fellow women who are on this journey. Because it's only in community that we can heal some of the things that we're going through. And it's also in community where you start to realize that you're not special. Like what you're going through, not in that way, but what you're going through is really not that this big thing as big as you think that it is. Like there are other people moving through other things that are like life-changing, life-altering things, and you really begin to see that you are not alone, and it also puts your problems into perspective. It helps you build on that gratitude because you realize that, hey, listen, honestly, I have way more to be grateful for than to complain about, right? All right, my loves, I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. It's probably going to be another guest episode, so please do tune in, show some love to my guest, give them a follow, pop into their DM, and let them know how much you appreciated what they shared with you. If anything resonated in those episodes, that's truly, truly what I hope that you guys will take away. All right, I will see you in the next one.